For decades, Sean Diddy Combs was more than a name. He was an empire, an icon, a trendsetter, a visionary. To many, he was the man who shaped hip-hop, launched superstars, and built a billion-dollar legacy. To others, he was a man with too much power, too little restraint, and too many buried secrets. Today, that legacy is being rewritten in the corridors of federal court. This is the story of a man who rose from the streets of New York to dominate global culture, and the long, dark shadow he left behind. It's a story of greed, betrayal, and cruelty, a story that reminds us that no matter how wealthy or famous one becomes, no one is truly above the law. Early life and rise to stardom. Sean John Combs was born in Harlem, New York in 1969. From an early age, he possessed a burning ambition. Growing up surrounded by poverty, violence, and adversity, he refused to accept a future defined by limitation. Instead, he turned to music. He started as an intern at Uptown Records, quickly making a name for himself with an uncanny ear for talent and trend-setting production. By 1993, he launched his own label, Bad Boy Records, a powerhouse that shaped the sound of 1990s hip-hop. Through Bad Boy, Diddy gave the world the notorious B.I.G., Mace, Faith Evans, and countless other stars. His roster dominated charts and set the stage for hip-hop's global dominance. Suddenly, Diddy was everywhere, a businessman, an executive, an icon of hip-hop culture. But with rising fame came rising controversy. The 1991 tragedy, a deadly stampede. It was supposed to be a night of music and joy. In December 1991, Diddy promoted a charity basketball game in concert at City College in New York, featuring Heavy D. What was meant to be a night of entertainment quickly spiraled into disaster. The venue was built for roughly 3,000 people, yet over 5,000 arrived. The result? Pure terror. A stampede erupted with panicked crowds pressed against doors that refused to open. The force was so brutal that 9 people lost their lives and dozens more were injured. Victims recalled hearing screams and seeing people pressed like rag dolls against the steel gates. The tragedy became the first public glimpse into Diddy's reckless approach, putting profit and status above safety. Although Diddy tried to distance himself, lawsuits later revealed that tickets had been oversold, security was virtually non-existent, and basic precautions were ignored. The tragedy was buried in legal proceedings, allowing Diddy to walk away with minimal accountability, yet a dark cloud would linger over the mogul for years. The Club New York incident. 8 years later, in December 1999, Diddy was making tabloid headline after headline. The scene? Club New York, Manhattan. The incident? A shooting that left 3 bystanders injured. According to witness accounts, tensions flared between Diddy's entourage and another partygoer. Suddenly, shots rang out. Panic engulfed the venue. Amid the chaos, Diddy and then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez were spotted fleeing the scene. Police later alleged that Diddy was in possession of an unregistered stolen firearm and tried to bribe his driver, Wardell Fenderson, to claim it as his own. Although Diddy was eventually acquitted, the fallout was significant. His protege, Shine, was convicted and served 10 years in prison for charges related to the shooting. The betrayal was palpable. The hip-hop world watched as Shine sacrificed a decade of his life for a man many felt had thrown him to the wolves. The Club New York shooting revealed a darker side of Diddy, one that prioritized self-preservation over loyalty and the well-being of others. The UCLA incident. In June 2015, the cracks in Diddy's public persona deepened further when he was accused of attacking a UCLA strength coach. The trigger? His son, Justin Combs, had been dismissed from a football practice. What happened next shocked onlookers. According to police reports, Diddy charged into the training facility, swinging a kettlebell and choking an intern before being restrained. The scene was captured by security cameras and circulated online, painting a picture of a man unable to control his aggression. Although charges were later dropped, the message was clear. Diddy's temper and ego had a dangerous side, and when combined with a sense of invincibility, the results were combustible. The federal sex trafficking case. Today, the charges against Diddy are darker and more serious than anything he has faced before. Federal prosecutors have unveiled evidence suggesting that for years, Diddy operated a sex trafficking ring, an organized, calculated enterprise built upon exploitation, intimidation, and terror. The accusations are shocking. Multiple women have come forward describing instances of being drugged, raped, and forced to service Diddy and his associates. Surveillance footage shows brutal beatings and acts of aggression committed by the mogul himself. Testimony from former staff paints a picture of a man who acted like an untouchable god within the walls of Bad Boy. If convicted, Diddy faces life in prison, marking one of the biggest downfalls in entertainment history. Impact on hip-hop culture. The story of Diddy is not just about one man's rise and fall. It's about a culture that too long ignored the warning signs. It's about an industry built on bravado and aggression, one that too often excused or overlooked the dark side of its icons. For every notorious B.I.G. or Faith Evans, for every hit record and chart-topping anthem, there was a cost, paid in silence, pain, and fear. Today, as the walls close in, we must ask ourselves, how many warnings were ignored? How many victims were silenced? How many bystanders turned away? Diddy's case is a turning point for hip-hop. An era that celebrated unchecked excess is now being called to account. The story of Sean Diddy Combs is a lesson about how money, power, and fame can corrupt, and how ultimately no one is above the law. As federal proceedings move closer to a conclusion, the world watches to witness the final chapter of hip-hop's most controversial figure. If this video reshaped the way you view Diddy's legacy, share your thoughts in the comments. Will justice finally be served? Will this be the end of an era? Let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more hard-hitting stories that pull back the curtain on the music industry's biggest secrets. This is Starscope. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay aware.